Hello violinists, welcome to Pro Strings. I'm Henriette and today is day 19 of the Virtual Violin Practice Playalong series. I'm delighted to see you here, and today we're going to do some new exercises. We're going to do some position changing, and we're going to revise some exercises with the bow that we've done, and then we're going to go quickly into our improvisation, and we're going to improvise in the key of G major today. So let's get all your things together, let's get your violin and your bow, and we'll get started. So let's start by tuning your violin. Here is your A. And your E string. Here is your D string. And this is your G. Now let's practice tuning your strings 2 and 2 together. So A and E first. And A and D. Started without your bow, so let's put your bow down for a moment, and we're going to practice again holding the violin with no hands. So let's find that little screw here, stick it into the dent in your neck right there, and then slide it over your collarbone to the side so that this corner of your jaw here is over the chin rest. And we'll hold it like that, so your violin's really very close to your ear. Now let's see if you can hold it with no hands like that. Now let's start by counting down from 10. So are you ready? Here we go. So let go of your violin, be very careful. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 0. Terrific. Now you have perhaps noticed that you can suddenly hold this violin for much longer without using your hand than say 2 weeks ago when you first started this course. So well done, you're getting stronger all the time, and that's why we keep repeating things like that. Now let's do the same thing again. Let's hold your violin just with your neck. And now let's practice getting both hands on your head. Can you clap your hands in front? Do you dare to clap your hands behind your back? Super. Reset it if you need to. And now, can you touch your knees? And I've got some pupils who lift up their knees and do it like that. But that's not really what you want. You want to really bend your knees and then touch them with both hands. And then what I had to do as a young girl, I had to make sure to get on the floor with my violin like this and touch the floor with the top of my head. So you go right the way up. I won't do that now because you can't see it, but in a brave moment you might like to try that at home. But always be very careful, and if you're not sure, then please don't do these exercises, or do them just in a limited way like that, and you will still gain from it and make your neck muscles really strong. But don't take any unnecessary risk, because that will be your own risk then. Okay, let's now put your violin down as well, and we'll just think about the bowing technique that we're going to practice today. Now, in one of our previous lessons, we have been thinking about moving your wrist side to side like this. And let's just warm up your wrist by just doing that. And how we're going to develop our bowing today is we're going to pretend to attach a little string on this side of your wrist, and you're going to pull your wrist this way. So your wrist is the part that comes first. So I'm pretending to pull a little string this way. And then as I play down bow, I pretend my little string is on this side and I pull my wrist that way. So you get this type of bowing, imaginary strings that pull your wrist like this. Now some wrists are more flexible than others. Some days you find your wrist is more flexible than others. So let's give it a go today. And let's now add your fingers to it, because we know as we play up bow, our fingers bend, and as we play down bow, our fingers stretch. So let's try it like that. Okay, give your wrist a little break. Make sure you step into that relaxed stance now, again, that we've done with your left foot forward. And now make sure you lower your shoulders into their lowest positions. And now I want you to do that same exercise again. So let's see if we gain a bit more flexibility. So bend your fingers as you pretend play up bow. Stretch them as you play down bow. Bend your fingers up. Stretch your fingers down. That's it. So all the time you make sure that your knees are relaxed and that your shoulders don't come up, because that is a real risk. Lots of people play like this. You see, and we don't want that to happen. So let's make sure that your shoulders are down once more. And let's try that again. Bend your fingers as you play pretend up bow. Stretch them as you play pretend down bow. Stretch and bend. Lovely job. So now let's get your violin and your bow. And we're just going to play on an open D string, and we're going to do the same exercise except now with the bow in your hand. So here we go. Down and up. Down. Up. All right, let's hold it there for a moment. Step into your relaxed stance again. So step forward, half a step with your left foot, and see if your knees are nice and relaxed, nice and bouncy. Drop your shoulders down, and we'll try it once more. Let's go on the G string this time. Yes, and if that image works for you, try to use that pretend string again to move your wrist up and down. Let's do it one more time on the G string. Great, great. Now if you feel that you're a little bit shaky once you get to the upper half of the bow, drop your shoulder down even more and drop your upper arm down as well. When we get the shakes here, that sort of stuff, it usually means that there is some tension in your upper arm. So you want to make sure that you make this bit all a little bit heavier. Okay, let's try that one more time, shall we? even if you find it very, very challenging today, you've heard me say this many, many times in this course, still try and stick with me there, because you will develop your technique, and tomorrow it might be easier, and next week we'll come back to this exercise and it might be easier still. So this is very much a process rather than an end result. So don't worry if you don't get it today. There will be many more people that don't quite get it, but that is absolutely fine, because as I said, we set this process in motion, and we'll see in 3 months' time that there is a big change in your bowing technique, and therefore in tone quality. So let's just pop your bow in your case. We'll pick it up very shortly. Our left hand exercise today is about changing position. Some of you may never have heard about that. When you play positions, it means when you play in the first position, you just have your fingers where you've always played them. Then if you play in the second position, all your fingers move up a spot, and then the third position is up yet another tone, and up, up, up all the time. And you can perhaps imagine that guitarists have these frets, and they indicate their positions all the way along the fingerboard. On the violin we don't have frets, but we do have positions. So what we're going to do today is practice sliding from one position to another, and we do that with our elbow. So let's start by gently swinging your elbow like this, because we need that flexibility. There. Okay. Now as I swing my elbow under, let your fingers slide up and then back again as your elbow swings back. So you get this movement. Your finger slides because it's being pulled up by your elbow. So now I'm going to push my elbow back and my finger goes back there. Up and down. So you see your elbow initiates the movement. So give it a little swing. Okay, take frequent breaks if you find that very tiring. If you have never done that before, that is really quite tiring for the left arm. And we're trying to promote flexibility all the time, so that will get better over time. Shall we do it again? So pull your elbow out, and then as you swing it under, your finger slides up and back. Slide up and back. Slide up and back. So you notice that your fingertip has to stop pressing down super hard. It's got to just lightly stay on the strings, otherwise you can't move your hand, you see. There, that's it. And now take a look at my thumb, because my thumb comes up just in the same way as my hand goes up, you see. Officially your thumb goes up to the third position there, and then it starts to circle round. Okay, so if you're a bit further advanced, you might try that. So your thumb stays up here, and then it goes diagonally around here until you feel that nice little snug corner that we've explored before. All right, now that is a super exercise to do, and we'll come back to it this week in all our lessons. Okay, and we'll do a bit more of that. Great, so let's get your bow now, and we're going to be playing a G major scale. And we're going to play it legato bowing. So you can perhaps remember that we were diving into the string, and we're going to pull the bow into the string with our back muscles and then relax it at either end of the bow. So that is how we're going to play the G major scale. And I want you to take extra care to stretch your bow arm forwards when we do that. So your bow goes forwards and into, and then lighten into the string and back. Here we go. We'll play every note of the scale twice. The top G we'll play 4 times. And noticed me looking here for quite a while, because there is lots of information to be had from looking at the contact point. We call this a contact point, where the bow is in contact with the string. So you might notice when you look at the contact point, the angle that your bow plays on the strings with. And you can also perhaps gauge if you play one single string at a time, or whether you by accident hit another string. And you can also see if your bows are long enough, because we want to go right from the heel to the point. So let's play the arpeggio now, the G major arpeggio, 2 octaves, and let's do that. Let's look at the contact point here and see if we can work out some things from your playing. So step forward with your left foot again, have that nice and balanced stance, and we're going to be starting after 3. 1, 2, 3. Lovely. And I'm hoping that compared with 19 days ago, your tone is developing all the time. So well done for sticking with me, and thank you for trusting me and coming along with me on this journey. And it's probably nice to know that there are many people, and I've heard from some people all around the world, who are following this course. So isn't that nice to be a large group of people just practicing the same things? Now, we're going to improvise in the key of G major today, but today we're going to do a copycat improvisation again. So can you copy what I'm playing? And this time we're going to make our improvisations twice as long. So the sections that we play are now 4 bars long, rather than 2 that we used to do most of the time. So let's see if we can remember all of the things. We're going to stick with the key of G major, so we're using only the notes of the G major scale and the G major arpeggio. So let me think of a good one, an easy one to start, and I'm going to start on a legato one. Well done, well done. And you're really getting into your improvisation now, aren't you? You find it hopefully a lot easier now to follow longer stretches than what you've done before. So there is a good deal of development in there. Now when we improvise in the key of G major, it means that we want to hear the G most prominently above all other notes. And it means that your tune, while they most often start on a G, they must always end on a G. they don't necessarily start on a G. So in our next group of playbacks, shall we say, we're going to try not starting on a G, but we'll always finish on a G, because that confirms to us the tonality of the G major scale and arpeggio. So let's see what we can do now. There we go. So you noticed that we finished on this G. But of course, you may also realise that whilst you play all the notes that are in the G major scale, those are the same notes that are also appearing in the A major scale and in the D major scale. And composers and improvisers use that knowledge of communal notes in different keys to go from one key to another, and we have already been exploring that a little bit in our previous lessons, and this week we're going to add a little bit more on that, but we're also going to make our phrases a little bit longer and start feeling that tonic of the G a little bit more, okay? And then in our next week's lessons we are going to perhaps go from one key to another key. So let me think of another one that doesn't start on the tonic. And I'm going to start on this note now. Now I think that most people will have found this a little bit more challenging. And that's right, because that is what it was. We're playing slightly longer phrases now, and as a result that is a little bit more challenging to remember it. But there must be one point when we start to stretch ourselves a little bit, so you've already passed that point. And for that I congratulate you, because this is not so easy to remember longer phrases, but I promise you, you will get used to that, and we'll practice it one more time right now, shall we? Now this time I'm going to start on a G, and I'm also going to finish on a G, and perhaps you might also observe whether I play staccato notes or legato notes. Staccato being short notes, legato being smoother notes. And here's our last one. Awesome. Awesome. Don't worry if you found that really challenging. Like I said, it is really challenging. But then again, if you managed about half of all of these, superb playing. Really, really good. And of course, if you managed everything, that is absolutely awesome. So let me know in the comments section down below this video how you got on with this, because we're getting a little bit more challenging now. So now you're properly warmed up, let's get your normal music out and play the work that your own teacher has set you. I wish you all the best with that, and I very much look forward to seeing you again in day 20. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.